So an update now on a story that we brought you earlier this week. Her son was killed by a drunk driver, but she was charged with vehicular manslaughter, and she wasn't even driving the car. Well, here's the update, and we're pretty happy about this. All charges but jaywalking has been thrown out. The mom, Raquel Nelson, with me on the phone now. And I was just explaining to our viewers, the charges have been dropped. You decided to fight this because you could have had probation, but instead you opted for a new trial. Tell me why you wanted to fight the charges.
Well, you know, I was there, and it was an accident. That's all it really boils down to. I don't think there's any mother, let alone any parent in this country who would, you know, wish for something like that to happen to their child. And I thought it was a little cruel.
Oh.
It's a lot cruel, and just based on, you know, the things that I've researched and understood, you know, it was just, I felt picked on a little bit. And the reason that I opted for a new trial was to really just basically clear my name and my conscience about the whole situation, because even though I know what happened and everything, it still doesn't feel really great. It's a very painful situation for me, you know, to have to go through it publicly.
Of course, and
you lost.
Well,
right,
you
right,
lost your four-year-old son. Yeah. Well, and Raquel, what was so outrageous about this was that here you are, a mom with your kids, with groceries, you're getting off the bus, all you want to do is cross the street to get to your apartment. You know, the crosswalk is about 6 minutes away, but you're doing what you do every day. Any mom would, frankly, get home quickly. It's late at night. This drunk driver runs down your little boy. He had a history of drunk driving. He was on pain meds, yet he only served 6 months, and you're still battling this jaywalking situation for a few years. I'm curious, if you were to be able to sit down with Jerry Guy, what would you say to him?
Well, you know, in all honesty, I realized that he didn't wake up that morning and decide this is what was going to go on. I know it wasn't on purpose. I understand that. I just really think the irresponsibility came in when you leave the scene of an accident and you know you hit somebody. And he says he didn't, but I'm not quite too sure about that. I've read the reports. You know, they didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And it's always different when you're there and you kind of see what's going on. And, you know, to sit down with him, I forgive him. I forgive 6 months. By all means, 6 months is fine. I don't know if he should ever be able to drive again, being as though he's a served offense. But, you know, that's the way I feel about it. I can forget all that, and I hope that he learns something from the situation.
I know everybody would want to react.
You know, don't drive on pain meds.
Sure.
You know, don't drive on pain meds, and sometimes you have to take responsibility for the things that are done. And in that case, well, once again, it was an accident, I know, but when it happens, stop and help somebody. That's all it boils down to. That's what upset me the most, I think.
Amen. And I know you're fighting to change that crosswalk situation. Guys, just your reaction. Raquel, I've got a panel of folks here, including an attorney. All of them feel your pain. Thoughts, guys? Do you want to say anything?
Heartbreaking. I couldn't imagine the pain that she's gone through with this ordeal. And a lot of times I hate our judicial system. Sometimes you just have to use common sense.
Right.
And putting her through this isn't common sense,
Right.
Simple as that.
Especially when she's lost her son. And Raquel, all I have to say to you is God bless you, because there's so many people watching this and listening to your words that couldn't forgive, couldn't get to a place of forgiveness this soon. And she's been able to do that. I have no idea how, but for the grace of God, because it's tragic, and I hate that you had to go through this.
It's the victimization of the victim, and I see it every day, whether personal injury, death practice. You know, Jordan Davis's parents were denied insurance benefits. You know, it's like they just lost their son. They had a life insurance policy. You're going to get them on a technicality? And the same thing here, you know, we shouldn't have to be arguing about the crosswalk. If a bus is dropping people off 6 blocks away from a crosswalk, let's change that. And it shouldn't take this much amount of time. It's terribly unfortunate. Right. Heartfelt.
It shouldn't.
Yes.
It shouldn't. And that was my biggest wish is, you know, if anything has to come from it, I would like, you know, the state of Georgia to, you know, work with me instead of against me, because I'm not, you know, people have asked me, well, you know, do you want to go after them? And, you know, pain and suffering it's a new definition on pain and suffering, but by all means, that's not going to make me feel better. What actually make me feel better is if, you know, all these funds that went into going into trial and everything else, and along with the federal funds that they get for the projects that they have going on within the state itself, will be better used towards correcting the situation.
Well, we know you're fighting to change that crosswalk and where it is and where it should be. And Raquel Nelson, we just lift you up and lift up a 4-year-old AJ. He's in our hearts, and thank you so much for calling in, Raquel. We really appreciate it.
Bless you.
Well, thank you for having me.